Today we are heading to Japan, where YouTube user Yama Q has been documenting a haunting in his home. Sometime in 2020, Yama Q's lease on his old house was coming to an end, so he began to search for a place to move into. He came across a property that was perfect for him. It had a large downstairs living area, 2 bedrooms upstairs, and although it was over 50 years old, it had just recently been renovated. It was a bargain well under its fair market value. The reason for this was the past resident had died on the toilet and unfortunately was not found for a number of days. Over the coming months, Yama Q will experience a broad range of paranormal activity. Although it's unclear when this activity first started, Yama Q does claim that shortly after moving into his new home, he would wake up in the middle of the night with a strong feeling that he was being watched. Something very strange because he lives alone. Our first bit of evidence comes from April 2021. Yama Q hears some strange noises coming from downstairs, so picks up his phone and goes to investigate. The door appears to open all by itself. Yama Q claims that all the windows downstairs and upstairs were shut, so it couldn't have been a breeze. Often waking up to find objects on the floor of his washroom, on the 11th of June 2021, he decides to set up a static camera and leave it recording overnight. Now, I'm quite a heavy sleeper, but if I'm honest, I think I would have struggled to stay awake through that. But Yama Q would not experience anything other strange. Well, for a few days that is. Only a week later, Yama Q would capture some more activity. Coming home from work, he found the incense sticks that he was using to cleanse the area all over the floor. Yama Q then decides to do a bit of research to try and find out what is causing this phenomenon. Outside of his house are some strange steps leading to nowhere. After a bit of research, he found out that before being developed in the 1970s, the land was woodland and was once a burial ground for ancient tribes which the houses were built on. He thinks that this could actually be the cause of the phenomenon, rather than the death of the original owner. Apparently, Yama Q actually asked one of the local Buddhist temples to remove the spirit, however, the request was denied. A few days later, Yama Q begins to record again, and whilst lighting some incense, he hears some commotion coming from the toilet behind him. This time it would be a few weeks until YAMAQ would upload again. Our next interesting bit of evidence, though, comes from the 28th of September 2021. YAMAQ is relaxing when he hears a strange noise coming from outside. That is pretty freaky, and he claims he has experienced this on more than one occasion. However, when he goes outside to find it, it's nothing is ever there. But just a few days later, YAMAQ would capture some more activity. He says he experiences this type of activity fairly often now and has become somewhat used to it. The next video, though, is something a little different altogether. He hears a dog barking outside and goes to investigate. Now, dogs are terrifying, especially when it comes to paranormal activity. They are often considered to have somewhat of a sixth sense and can see a presence that might not be visible to us. It would be, again, a few weeks until Yama would upload another video. But the next bit of evidence that I actually want to show you guys is from the end of October 2021. YAMAQ hears that strange noise coming from outside, and this time he decides to try and throw boiling water over it.
誰ですか？誰かいます？
The whole time YAMAQ is recording these videos, he's also recording his research into what could be causing it, to make sure that no wild animals have got into the crawl space above the bathroom. He puts his GoPro up there to have a look around, and there is no evidence of any animals being up there. He also purchases some new kit, which is a thermal camera. He puts this into action next time he heard the noises outside. YAMAQ goes on to upload several more videos. They tend to follow this same format of for knocking or for noises coming from outside. However, we never see anything else. I do recommend that you go over to YAMAQ's channel. I've linked it down in the description, and stay up to date and follow his story, because it's definitely an interesting one. Now, in all my videos, I like to have a look at the skeptical side of things. And in this case, I think we can break it down into two main areas. We've got the static camera for objects being pulled off shelves and for noises coming from outside. If we firstly take a look at for objects and for doors being pulled open and closed. Forever and a day, invisible string and fishing wire has been used by hoaxers and magicians to hoodwink people left, right and centre. Now, I use this to try to recreate, first of all, the scene of the door opening. And then the objects being pulled from his washroom. You can see that it's fairly easy to reproduce. What makes me think this in YAMAQ's videos are that all of the objects seem to fall towards the door. I could be wrong, and it might be easier for ghosts to pull things, but it just doesn't seem random enough for me. As for the noises, I think that they could either be overdubbed, for example, for banging.
Hello? Hello?
Or a speaker use.
I can hear that voice again. What the fuck is that? What the hell? Nothing.
Now, I tried to recreate both the banging and the groaning. I live in a flat, so I couldn't go outside, but I recreated it in my living room. I am not convinced by Yama Q, unfortunately. A lot of people will probably say, well, why not? Why? You don't believe, you're an unbeliever. I am a believer in the paranormal. But for me, the evidence has to be intelligent. There has to be intelligent responses from the spirit, and I just don't see that here. I don't see it interacting with all of the evidence follows the same format, which is fairly easy to hoax. Real or not, believer or non-believer, please always be respectful. So for people who are experiencing these hauntings, they can be very real indeed. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.